Pictures on the wall.
Yeah, if you want.
Gift from a friend, and I love anime. In fact,
Yeah.
My new thing is doing anime celebrations from shows that I like. But then the problem is I get too hyped when I score and I completely forget.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host today, Josh Deming, and I'm joined by a special guest, Promise David. Promise, how you doing today?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited to talk with you, and I want to kind of rewind a little bit and head back to TFC because you started your career out there, and I just want to take a look at your journey so far. Like I mentioned, you began at the TFC Academy. You obviously left Canada. You played in the United States, Croatia, Malta, and now you're in Estonia. Tell me about your journey so far.
So I started at TFC's pre-academy. That's when I really tried to take football seriously. I was there for about two to 3 years, and my coaches were Dichio. He was definitely my favorite. I was let go around 16 or 15, and I ended up at my local club, Vaughan, with Vidori, Jordan, Pat. And from there, we trained, played football, and I really found a new love for it. And, being a Canadian, most people growing up try to go the NCAA route or the school route. And I think like I had a few offers, but on like my last day of high school, I spoke to my parents and I told them I'd want to try the pro route. And what they told me was they're going to give me 2 years or 3 years to solidify myself, or it's back to York University. So there was a camp in Oakville for this Division II team from Croatia that came over and tried to do like a scouting camp. And me and my friend got picked happily, and we ended up in Croatia within like 2 weeks. And out there, things went rough when stuff outside the field, like technical directors and presidents, got moved around. So I ended up moving to a Division III side, and I played there for a year while playing again with the under-19s, who were thankfully in Division I for their age group. So we were playing against like Dinamo Zagreb's under-19s, Lokomotiva, the big teams out there. And there I really felt like training European football added something to my game. There was a whole different aspect that we don't really focus on here in the Canadian side. And then it was out there that I got in touch with Majestic through a friend of mine. And like, as soon as I got on the call with Fernandez, I think like a month later, he was so ready for me to come to USL. And I made Tulsa there and was there for a year training with bigger guys, older guys with a lot more experience. And it was a lot of pressure, and it kind of forced me to develop more quickly than I expected. And after a year, I ended up moving to Malta, to Valletta, because my agent had done work with them before, and they were looking for another young striker to come and replace an older guy. And I think I was a good fit for that. So spent half a season there, and to me it was like my best, well, not anymore, but it was probably my best football at the time. And I think I scored like 8 goals and had like 4 assists or something like that, and went to an FA Cup final, saved us from relegation, and it was great. I ended up moving to Cyrene, same country, same league. And there I got a call up for the under-23s for Nigeria based off what I had done at Valletta had caused a little bit of attention. So I got the call up. I was, excited about it because it was like one of my goals growing up to represent, either Canada or Nigeria. So especially my dad. My dad was ecstatic about it. So went, and it was a jaw-dropping level. Like, I'm seeing guys that played abroad as well, some that played inside the country, and everybody was the talent level was crazy. And that was exciting. And then I ended up in Estonia at Nõmme Kalju, and been here for a year, going into my second year. And it's been amazing, to be honest. The coaching staff here are really on my back to get the best out of me. And I got a great set of teammates. So, as a striker, you can't really complain when you've got a team working behind you.
So, Promise, you mentioned Danny Dichio, and I don't know if you know this, but right now he's coaching at Detroit City FC, and they're level on points at top of the USL Championship in the Eastern Conference. He's doing really well there. Any interesting stories you have about him?
Dichio was my first coach at TFC, and I mean, the dude was hilarious on and off the field as a coach, and I love the dude. And it was weird because I used to like watch Sports Center or Sportsnet in Canada, and he'd be the main commentator on Premier League weekdays. And then when I got to the TFC Academy, I didn't know he was a coach there. And like, my first day in, they're like, "Oh, this is your coach, Danny Dichio." And I'm, damn, that name sounds hella familiar. And I looked at him and I'm like, "Yo, you're the dude, you're the dude from the commentary at halftime." He's like, "Yeah, I am." But Dichio was like, I remember like the shoes I had were like beat up Umbros or something, because I didn't really know like soccer shoes were important. I just thought shoes were shoes. You put them on and you kick a ball. It's not much to it. But like my shoes were ripping, and I remember like one day Dichio just looked at my shoes and he's like, "Ah, damn." And like he told me to follow him to the kit room one day, and I was like, okay. And I showed up there, and like I look in the back, and there's like mountains of Adidas shoes. And he's like, "What size are you?" And I told him my size, and he came back and he got me like 2 Nitro Chargers. And one was like green, yeah, neon green, and the other one was like blue or orange or something, and just handed them to me. And he's like, "New shoes equals more goals. So you can't have these shoes and not produce on the field." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And that, until this day, I still wear Adidas, and I think it's because of him. Like I've not switched out. But yeah, that guy, he was definitely one of my favorite coaches to have.
And I mean, your career so far in Estonia is what got my attention, because I tried my best to find, the Canadians abroad and find cool stories like yours. And I mean, you're scoring for fun right now in Estonia. You scored over the weekend. I saw you had your belter your agent sent me. So what do you think some of the reasons is behind some of your success right now? Why is Estonia becoming like a good fit for you to grow your game?
I don't even know if it's Estonia or the coaching staff I've got around me. These coaches came in halfway through the season last year, the entire coaching staff, and they turned the club around, in my opinion. Like, from the trainings to how we execute things in the game. And our fitness coach, I thought I was already in shape. He whipped me back into a complete, different level. And, I'm not there yet, but like, it's a steady incline. And playing here, I just think I've got some great teammates that we kind of understand each other on a football level and how we want to play, and where, just the tiny details that make a difference that can lead up to a goal. So, scoring is all, it's fun, but it's also, it takes a whole team. And, that's something that I definitely have here.
Now, since you've been scoring for fun, there's been some rumors linking you away. Do you feel like you're ready for a bigger move? I know a goal of yours is to one day join the Vancouver Whitecaps. So I'm curious about just kind of elaborating on that and what your connection is to the Whitecaps.
Whitecaps. Whitecaps was I grew up in Canada, MLS football. Yeah. The Whitecaps are like one of the big 3 teams in Canada. And ever since I got let go from TFC, I was like, I kind of want my little revenge tour. I always thought of myself that I'm gonna come back and go crazy. But my agent had been affiliated with them before, and he had gone in there and he'd seen their structure from the academy all the way to the first team, how they organize stuff, their technical directors, and their overall game plan in getting Canadian players and growing them and developing them into crazy players. And obviously the biggest example being Alfonso. Like that's like the biggest success story, out of Canada. So it's always like, if it's just a great team to be a part of. And I just thought, I definitely enjoy a fit, and I get to move back home to Canada. So there's no homesick feeling.
Yeah, the Vancouver Whitecaps Academy is one of my favorites to follow. I especially love the fact that their academies are spread across Canada. There's one here, even here in London, Ontario, which is close to kind of where I live. So your agent's company, Majestic, actually spoke with the Whitecaps, Atletico Ottawa, among some other clubs in Europe about a transfer. How did that interest make you feel?
It felt good. I mean, my agency was working overboard and overtime just to see how many options I had during the off season. They were constantly in calls with me and other teams. Like the Atletico Group, the Whitecaps, Randers, and other teams spread across Europe and Asia. And it made me feel good that all the hard work that I was putting in was piquing interest in other teams at higher levels. So it was like, it was kind of like a sign of relief, like, yeah, I'm doing something right. And I'm doing my job on the field and other people are noticing. So yeah, that was really good.
So why did a move not end up materializing then?
I think it was just a time constraint, Um, Obviously, this being a summer league, Estonia, due to the weather. So our league kicked off in like March, and like the window kind of closed in February, January-ish. So it was a big like time constraint on what my team wanted and what other teams wanted. So negotiations kind of like, they didn't fall out, but the window kind of closed a little bit earlier than we expected. And we were disappointed, but we were like, summer's right around the corner. So no need to like, get really fussy about it.
Yeah. Any expectations for that summer window?
Definitely. Spoke to after conversation with my president and the board and the coaches. They were really keen on me producing a lot of stats this year, so that negotiations are kept to a minimum, and it's literally just I've already proved myself type of thing. Because last year was like a good 7 months. It was a good 7-month run, but it wasn't the whole season. So it was I felt like if I stayed to the summer and I continued the trend that I was on with goals, assists, wins, it would prove to clubs that wanted me and clubs that are going to, come knocking, that it's not really a fluke, like it's an everyday, daily reoccurring activity,
So Promise, tell me a little bit about some of your top career goals right now at the moment.
Right now, it's just to play at the highest level possible, It's to move from one level to the other and then dominate that level and then see what other options are open and just keep going and going and going. So, just the never ending grind, I guess you could say. And it would definitely be to move to a big league like the MLS or a bigger league in Europe and, keep on making a name for myself and keep doing what I'm doing. But everybody knows 2026 World Cup is around the corner. So, I'm prepping for that because I got dual citizenship, but I definitely want to. Every kid's goal growing up playing soccer is to be in the World Cup because it's the biggest stage and everything. So definitely to participate in that.
So you brought up the national team, so I'm going to go that direction as well. So you are a dual nat, like you just mentioned. You're eligible for both Canada and Nigeria. Is the door open to both countries? Do you prefer one over the other, or are you just waiting to see?
No, definitely don't prefer one. I grew up in both, so I've got loyalty and love for both countries. I know both national anthems, so I ain't got a problem singing either one of them. But yeah, I played the under 23s with Nigeria at a qualifiers. Was like, that was a big thing for me. Like I was definitely very happy to get that one under my belt because we have a pretty big population, so it's not a lot of chances to represent your country on the national level. So it was just something to be proud of. But definitely would love to do that for Canada. But it's just, seeing what happens in the future.
So what are your thoughts on both programs right now? Because Nigeria obviously made it to the 2023 AFCON final. Canada just qualified for the very first ever Copa America. Both programs are looking pretty promising right now leading up to the 2026 World Cup.
I think they're both good. The one that I know that I'm extremely knowledgeable on is the Canadian one because I grew up playing in Canada for football and seeing like some guys that I know like Kamal or Alistair like being able to represent Canada on a national level. It's kind of like it's encouraging to know like it's not impossible because these are guys that I saw growing up, and growing up they were pretty phenomenal players. And I trained with Kamal a few times and Alistair, and it was kind of jaw dropping to see the difference, even though I was still a little teenager, but to see the difference that those guys had and how they perform on the national stage. So definitely. And as Nigeria, I'm Nigerian as well. So it's impressive. Like the AFCON final was heartbreaking for me. I remember watching it and screaming at my TV with my Nigerian friends, but making it to a final is always a good achievement. It's nothing small. So yeah, both countries are really doing their thing. So
yeah, I'm assuming you played with Alistair at Vaughan, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Him and his brother Malcolm.
So it's pretty cool to see where Johnston went, and that unorthodox kind of route over to
Yeah.
MLS and then to Europe. But
Yeah.
maybe just let me know, Promise, in terms of how you play. If there's any Canadian or even Nigerian fans watching right now, what type of striker are you, and is there a player that you think that you play similar to?
Player that I am, I think I'm a power player. I'm big, I'm strong, and I'm fast, and I like to run at people. And it's sad to say it, I like to hit people. I love a good shoulder to shoulder battle. And honestly, like when I play here, I noticed that it's my favorite thing is like getting the ball to feet and like having my back turn, because it's always nice to create that drop, a drop pass for midfielders or swing it out wide to the wingers. So, I like to put myself in positions to score. And when that isn't possible, it just opens up space for my teammates to, join the attack. So putting my teammates in positions to score is also very important to me. And if I had to pick a player, it's probably Lukaku.
Okay. Nice.
I'd want to say Drogba, but I don't think I'm there yet. But definitely Lukaku. Like, love being explosive and running at guys and running in behind. It's like it's probably my favorite part of attacking.
Beautiful. Promise, I really appreciate the time, my man. Best of luck this season.
Thank you. No problem.